y'all? Welcome back to Trill Nation. If you guys don't know my name is Lara, and today we are going to be doing a little recap of what we learned last week. If you didn't get to watch that video, make sure you go over and watch that video first. On there, we talk about implementation intention and how we're going to start to use that to find our way out of survival mode. For now, we'll go ahead and do a quick recap of last week's video. First things first, we talked about survival mode, what it is, and what the symptoms of survival mode look like. From there, we decided, okay, we might be in some survival mode. What do I do now and where do I go? We also talked about that the lack of clarity can cause lack of movement, and it's not due to lack of motivation or laziness. It's just the overwhelm of not knowing where to start. And there's so many different videos and things telling us all these places to start. We talked about writing your list of everything that's weighing on your mind, body, and soul, and then to separate it in two separate categories. Those categories being things within our control and things that are not in our control. From there, we went ahead and put the things that were out of our control to the side for now. And then we went through our list of things we can control and modified it and solidified it a little bit further. From there, we talked about prioritizing anything that could bring in basic necessities that we need, necessities, and anything that basically can produce or bear any type of fruit. This is where I want to clarify something before we go into before we recap implementation intention. I want to clarify that God or the universe or the higher power, whoever or whatever you believe in, is not going to give you more if you are not in alignment with the version of you that is ready to receive more. So if you are in a bad financial position or at a bad job or, in a bad relationship, if you don't start moving like someone who is not broke, who is not in a shitty relationship, who is not at this job that they hate, you're never going to receive that income, that new job, that better relationship or better treatment, because you keep giving to the version of you that does not know how to receive more. The version of you is currently looking broke, acting broke, not making moves on this job that is not doing anything for her or that is making her unhappy. You aren't trying to find a way out of that job. You're just complacent. Same thing with being in that relationship or whatever. If you are not acting in accordance, even if you're not ready to release it, still acting in accordance. So if you are in a relationship that is not doing you well, it's toxic or you're unhappy, if you don't start to revert your attention to yourself or to another job or to that project that is going to make you money, or whatever it may be, you are not going to ever be ready to receive better or more. You need to do the work first. You need to be obedient. You need to use discernment before you are blessed with more. You need to be prepared to receive. It can't just land in your lap and then you not know what to do with it. Okay, implementation intention. What is it? It's the what, when, and where of any type of action or behavior. So the behavior, the time, and the location. This is what we're going to start to implement to help us get out of survival mode. So, implementation intention, how do we use it? We are going to basically put certain goals from our list of things that we can control. We are going to start to decide when we're going to do that action, that behavior, that habit, that change, where we're going to do it at, and what time we're going to do it at. And we're going to write it in a planner to make the plan concrete and then to also help us remember to follow through on the plan. Implementation is super important because you are not only setting up a plan of action, a blueprint for yourself and your brain to help achieve the goal, but you are also assisting yourself in creating habits and making those habits feel safe and becoming your own constant. Once you become your own constant and certain habits feel safe, we start to go into a different type of autopilot, not disassociation, but an autopilot that recognizes certain actions and certain behaviors and certain habits as safe enough to do without the need to think. It can just do it on autopilot to give us the capacity to accomplish more, to do more, to plan ahead even more. When you break down a goal smaller and smaller and smaller and give yourself a clear plan of action, you are more likely to follow through on the promise that you made to yourself. Following through on all those promises to yourself tells your nervous system that no matter what, when, and where we're at, we are within ourselves, which is our own constant, our own safety, and we are prepared to handle anything and everything that comes our way. So let's talk about it. How did it go for you guys? How was your first week? Did you guys implement the implementation intention? Did you guys use a planner? Were you guys able to follow through on the things that you guys said you guys were going to do, the time and the location? Or did you have a hard time doing that? If you did have a hard time doing that, that's okay. Sometimes it takes a few tries to figure it out and kind of figure out the best system for us. Oftentimes, we can help ourselves with this by making sure that our environment fits our needs to be able to follow through on implementation intention. Examples of that are, if you know you have to take a certain medication every day or at a certain time every day, you're going to be more likely to forget it if you put it in a drawer or in a space that you're not going to see it. But if you put it right next to your coffee maker that you use every single morning, or you put it right next to your toothbrush, or put it in an area that you know you are not only going to visit that day, but you are also going to see that and remember to do that action, eventually you recognize that the behavior is taking the pill. The time is in the morning when you drink your coffee. The location is right there by my coffee maker. It is as simple as that. Sometimes it just takes a little bit extra work to follow through on the plan. When you have a set plan, a set time, and a set location, you are less likely to push it off or put it on the back burner. When you have your environment set up to fit the behaviors that you need to accomplish or that you have set out to meet those goals, you are, again, more likely to follow through because you just continue to help yourself in that. If you know that right now you are trying to follow a health journey, whether it's to lose weight or to feel your best or whatever it is, you need to be able to do yourself the favor of setting up waters or, whatever, those healthy snacks in locations that you're going to see all the time, and kind of hiding or even avoiding purchasing certain things that you have a hard time saying no to. For instance, for me, it's soda. I have a really hard time saying no to soda. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I have to pretty much, stop myself from buying, the 12 packs or the cases or whatever, and just buy myself a soda whenever I get the chance to go to a store or go somewhere to eat. If you are trying to work out every day and you know that at 4 o'clock doesn't really matter, it doesn't fit your schedule because you're getting home at 3 o'clock, your kids are all coming home and the house is chaotic, then you're most likely to not follow through on that plan. So making sure that the time and the location actually fits your daily. So location being, if you have to work out at home because you don't have a babysitter and can't take your kids to the gym and whatever, then obviously the time is maybe after kids' bedtime in my living room, and location in the living room. If you were able to follow through on implementation intention, how did it make you feel? How did you feel following through on that, being able to write it down and look at your calendar and see like, oh my God, I did that today? Did it make you feel proud? Did it make you feel excited? Did it make you feel good? How did it feel to add this into your lifestyle? For me personally, I struggled with the night routine. I have a really hard time with night routines. For some reason, the morning routines, maybe I've been working on them longer, so I've had a little bit of an easier time creating a morning routine. But a night routine, I have a really hard time because my nights are so inconsistent. And sometimes they are dependent on, or sometimes my kids are home, sometimes they're not home because I have shared custody with their dads. And so my night routine tends to start a lot earlier on the days that they're here and a lot later on the days that they're not here. And so I'm having a hard time learning how to balance that, and even really how to apply my night routine to me and not just to the kids and to the household. I'm still having a really hard time finding that self-care time and that me time. I have been doing better about giving myself at least some space or like a moment to decompress. But I tend to find myself still leaning towards more work mode at night, because that's when I find motivation, versus relax mode and reset mode. So this is how we're going to break it down further and tackle those things that we had a hard time doing. For those of you who had a hard time applying implementation intention, why did you find it difficult to apply this? Was it because you didn't want to use a planner, or you're having a hard time using the planner? Was it because your schedule is still super, super crazy and you're not understanding or knowing where to fit in certain things? Or is it because your environment wasn't set up the way you needed it to be to produce the results you wanted to? Next week, we will talk about how to set up your environment better and more to help you follow through on the things. But now that you can even hear that you're able to do that, to set up your space to be more successful, is that something that you are going to try and apply this following week? For those of you who struggled with the nighttime routine, we're going to break it down further by making a step-by-step. So for instance, on the days that I have my kids, I understand that my nighttime routine starts pretty much as soon as we get home, because due to the long commute that we have, we get home about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Typically, this is the time from 5 to 6 is a time that I give my kids time to chill out, and myself, because we were just in the car for 2 hours or an hour and a half. And then at 6 o'clock, I start prepping dinner, making dinner. Usually this has us eating dinner by 7 o'clock, 7:30 at the latest. And then we go into bedtime routine, which is bath. Usually at this point I do homework or reading. And then I give my kids a bit of wind down time, which is typically when I give myself wind down time, because me and my 3-year-old share a room and a bed. So I have to kind of follow through on that. What I do find difficult is when my kids are here, because I, try to quiet my room down enough for my 3-year-old, I typically fall asleep as I'm getting him ready to sleep. And sometimes that stops me from doing absolutely anything for myself. On the nights that my kids are not here, me and my mom usually have like a girl dinner, something super easy and fast. And then even though I chill, I'm kind of a little bit being avoidant and like hiding in my room a little bit. And then this is the time that I want to use to work and to do the things that I want to do on top of me doing it in the day. And maybe just right now, again, I'm in that place of obedience, so I have the energy to do it. But even after I'm done, I still find myself having a hard time, doing like a full like everything shower, or doing skincare or anything like that. I still find I'm still having a hard time doing those kinds of things. So what I'm going to do is break it down and really decide what few things I want to do for myself every single night, and then give myself a time frame to do that. While I let my son unwind for the night, I need to be doing my skincare. I need to be doing the few things for me, so that once it's time to shut everything off, me and him can go to sleep and I can feel like I followed through on something for myself. And on the nights he's not, they're not here, it should be a lot easier. And so I'm going to start to write that down in my planner and follow through on it. So I have obviously in my bathroom, right? Because I'm avoiding being in my room when my son is here. And then when he's not here, then it's in my room, in my bathroom. So make sure you guys comment down below. Let me know what you guys struggled with. Let me know what you guys saw success in. And let me know how you want to readjust for next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to set up your space for success. And we're going to dive into that a little further and see how much more we can help ourselves in implementing the implementation. And I don't know how to say that. In implementing intention. So, don't forget to follow, subscribe, comment, like, the whole nine, share, and let's see you guys next week. For now, keep it real, keep it chill, keep it trill. Love you, nation.